Do you like food? Yeah, me too. Whenever I go on vacation, it's like the thing I look for is places to eat, food suggestions. And I subject people to the same thing when they ask me, like, what is there to do in New York City? And I'm like, let me give you a bunch of restaurants to go to. I hate cooking, but I cook well because I feel like if I'm going to put any effort into it, it might as well taste good. Oh, you said you don't like food. You hate food. No, I get it. I feel like eating is such a chore. It feels silly that we have to eat in order to function. There are times that I get so hung up on a project and so absorbed in the project I forget to eat. And then I become weak and grouchy, and it's silly. And I get jealous sometimes of animals like pets, like cats and stuff, because it's like, oh, you can just eat the same thing any day and you're pretty happy about it. I think there's been attempts at something like that for people. For a while, I would have Soylent, the meal replacement drink. I substituted my food with Soylent in ways that were possibly, healthy and possibly very unhealthy. So I get it. Food is a contentious subject. It is just such a topic, isn't it? It's something that we all have a connection with, for better or for worse. Some of the scenes in films that stand out to me the most, both positive and negative, have to do with food. I can say with confidence that, like, Ghibli's food scenes are just some of the most effective frames of animation that I've seen. They literally make you hungry. And then on the flip side, some of the even more disturbing scenes in media relate to food. Watching food be eaten or even prepared in the substance, the oral fixation of food when it comes to scenes in Blue is the Warmest Color, they're very affecting and disturbing. Even something like Hook, and that scene where there's no food, they have no food, and they have to imagine the food. I don't remember any of the rest of that movie when I watched it as a kid, except for that scene, because it's like their imagination conjures up such a beautiful scene of things to eat, but you can't help but continue to remember it's all just imagination. There is no food. And so the absence of food is even more strongly felt by the viewer. The Choki in Matilda is portrayed as the scariest punishment that a schoolchild could get. And yet I think a lot of us were much more frightened by the punishment that Bruce had to go through, eating that whole giant chocolate cake, taking the dream of many children to be able to eat a whole chocolate cake by yourself and turning it into a nightmare. Brilliant. Similar to these scenes that take place in the lifespan of a feature film. The film I'm making is called Food Through the Ages, and it is the relationship of this woman and food through her life. There's only one actor, me, but we could argue that the camera is the other actor because it is quite an active audience member. And this was originally supposed to be a piece for theater, in which case the audience was the other actor. But instead, we're going to bring the kind of the artifice and the suspension of disbelief required to see theater and fully enjoy it into a film, which is definitely a delicate balance because automatically when we put in a film, we are kind of not expecting to suspend our disbelief too much. That's what we're used to. So don't worry, it's not a play on tape. Unfortunately, making a movie is expensive. Luckily, we've got a team of people who are working pro bono because they love the script. So I would like to think that is a vote of confidence and faith in the project. But we do need to rent space in order to shoot. For those of you who don't like the idea of eating, similarly, not great that we do have to eat during this shoot. And so catering costs money as well. Plus, even though people are working for free on this project, there are things that can't come out of nothing. For example, our art director will need money in order to create some very intriguing props, both food and otherwise, that we have in mind. This is a humble request. If you can donate to this film, I think that it's really going to be something special. And if I said it's going to be something awful, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? It's always going to be something special. But at the very least, we do have some thank you gifts that I think are pretty neat. Of course, you can get co-producer or executive producer credits depending on your donation. You can get the soundtrack on tape. And while, of course, you can't listen to the soundtrack right now, you can listen to our composer, Danny Martinez, on her website. And frankly, I think her music is pretty darn good. And I would listen to that tape regardless. And that is a perk that also gives her money, which I think is more than Spotify can say. Finally, for those of you who are here from your cool Uncle Maris's channel, we do have a Game Boy Advance that will be signed by the entire team and sealed so that you can play on it maybe sometimes and display it forever. Because I'm pretty sure maybe at least one person on this team is going to make it one day. Statistically, one person has to make it, right? If any of those perks sound interesting to you, if the film sounds interesting to you, you can learn more about the project on our Indiegogo, which I have linked in the description if you are watching this on YouTube. And any amount helps. I know you often probably hear that, but it genuinely is true. I've fundraised before for a shelter cat, and there were people who donated, $2, and it really did make a difference in getting us to hit our goal. And if you're interested in this project but are not able to support it currently, you can follow along on Indiegogo. Backing a movie is hard because, it's like you don't know what it's going to be until it's done. So for those of you who are backing, I really do appreciate your faith in the project, your faith in me, and your faith in the team that I've assembled. And I am quite hopeful that we will be producing something that will more than meet your expectations, if not exceed them. Thank you for watching this, and bye-bye.